Hi, I'm Jamie Funchball, and welcome to a new video series titled The Strategic Thinker, The Strategic Process, and Your Strategy. Now, we'll talk more about the reason for that title, but this video is particularly just to introduce the whole series and make a couple of key points that help frame the topic that we're going to explore. Now, the first thing I should say is these videos are not meant to be consumed in any particular sequential order. I have put them in the sequence that I think is best, but they can easily be taken one at a time out of sequence as you desire. It will range covering sort of three different sets. The first will be a little bit more about the strategic thinker, a little bit more about perspective. Then we'll get a little more into tools and methods as we go, followed by a series of interviews, most of which are 20 to 30 minutes with a range of different perspectives from academic to application. Now, overall, throughout this series, I hope to make this more pragmatic and application-oriented than too theoretical. However, I will be providing sort of models and perspectives that help you become a strategic thinker. Ultimately, this is for the leader, the entrepreneur, the manager, the facilitator. I hope that all of those roles can find a little something in this that helps shape how you approach strategy. Now, the reason for the title is that we're going to look at this in an integrated way. We're going to look at multiple different dimensions of strategic thinking. We're going to look at it from the process standpoint, how you go about it. From the person's standpoint, how does someone think in a strategic way? I think process isn't enough. It doesn't get you where you want to go, and you need a person who can think strategically as a fundamental skill. And of course, the strategy itself, or the outcome that comes from all of this work. So those are three different dimensions. Now, you could also think about this from where it fits in the sentence. Is strategic as an adjective meant to describe something? Well, a strategic decision, a strategic plan, a strategic thinker, those are all related to how the person, how the decision, how the act manifests itself. It may not be the strategy itself, but it helps shape it by the very nature that it is strategic. Strategy as a noun, however, is very much a manifestation of a plan put into action. Whether it's a deliberate plan or a plan that emerges, either one can be strategic, but ultimately that collection of policies and plans and actions that come together is your strategy, the noun. And then, of course, we have the verb. It's what are you doing with it? Strategic thinking, how you process, strategic planning, how you pull teams together and go through the work, all starts to matter a great deal because it can come about in many different ways, what verb you apply this word to. So this entire course, as we put it together, is really meant to look at it from multiple dimensions. And the idea is you should not only just pick and choose what aspects apply you to the most, but integrate them all at the same time. Look at how they apply, look at what your weaknesses and strengths are, and build out your capability, either as an organization or as an individual. Now, strategy really is irrelevant about where it sits in the organization because one person's strategy becomes another person's tactic. And we have to understand that any one of us can be strategic in how we approach things. Fundamentally, if the organization sets a strategy of entering a new market and they assign that to you as a tactic, you then need a strategy to execute that tactic. It might be who to partner with and hiring locally and setting a different tone for that particular market. Those might be strategic decisions for you, but for someone else, they're just a tactic related to their strategy, which on a broad stroke was to enter that market. So don't get stuck about where you are in the organization. Fundamentally, if you're making decisions, setting direction, making trade-offs, determining a pathway, then you're acting strategically. All of those things done together, especially the decisions, end up establishing your strategy. Strategy, from an analogy standpoint, to me can best be represented as a vector. It's a direction and a magnitude. How far you want to go in the direction that you set might determine what kind of trade-offs you need to make, what you invest into that, what type of different decisions you make or creativity you apply to that particular direction. The point being is that it's not just a set of decisions. It's all of the things that you invest in moving yourself from one point to another. Now, as you watch this video series, I recommend you sort of pick a perspective around something that you're working on that allows you to bounce these ideas against your current practice. Whether it's a strategy you're working on for your company, for your organization, for yourself, or for how you approach it as a methodology and a way of thinking. Whatever your perspective is, pick a viewpoint, pick a starting point so that you're not just bouncing this off against other theory, but against your existing practice. And then it'll have a whole lot more meaning and help shape, perhaps, how you approach things. I hope you enjoy.